We're live. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study of paper 42 of the Urantia book, Energy, Mind, and Matter, and we're in section 10, paragraph 5, and it's labeled as 3 Evolving Urantia Minds in the old book. I don't know what it is on the new books. All right, let's say a little prayer and we'll get started for the day. Father, thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for allowing us to share this wonderful revelation with folks out there that come and listen to it. We thank you for our many blessings. We thank you for our ability to learn and remember some of this. We thank you for all the things you do for us each and every day for ourselves, our family, and our friends. Pray that you open our hearts and minds. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth, and the local universe Mother Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. Okay, evolving Urantia minds. Now, remember from last time, we were talking about the non-spirit, universal non-spirit energies associated with non-creator minds. Now, these are types of minds that are not creator. This does not include the creator signs. Okay, so all the minds they're talking about here are on the level of finite all the way up through spiritual, okay? And we went through the pre-adjutant spirit minds last time and the adjutant spirit minds, which includes us also. But now we get to the evolving Urantia minds. So let's start there and get started. Go ahead, dear. You
Minds. The expanding consciousness. Okay. I'm good. Okay. 3. Evolving Urantia minds. The expanding consciousness of evolving personalities in the local universe, ascending careers. This is the bestowal of the local universe Mother Spirit in liaison with the Creator Son. This mind level connotes the organization of the Urantia type of life vehicle, a synthesis of the material and the spiritual, which is affected by the Urantia power supervisors of the local universe. Urantia mind functions differently in response to the 570 levels of the Urantia power supervisors of a local universe. Urantia mind, I just read it wrong. I'm going to start that one. Urantia mind functions differently in response to the 570 levels of Urantia life, disclosing increasing associative capacity with the cosmic mind on the higher levels of attainment. This is the evolutionary course of mortal creatures, but mind of a non-Urantia order is also bestowed by a universe sun and a universe spirit upon the non-Urantia children of the local creations. That's interesting.
Okay, right off the bat, I want to mention here that it talks about the 570 levels of Urantia life. Do you see that right in the middle of that paragraph? So that's how many different levels. That takes a long time to get there, right? So we start out on level number 1, on Mention World number 1, and we go up 570 levels till we become first stage spirits on the local universe headquarters.
Wait a minute. I have to die 570 times.
Yeah, pretty much.
To get to stage 1.
To get this first stage spirit, but you don't actually die, though, Gary.
That's a nice thing.
Well,
It's a nice
okay,
thing
I
about
have
it. You only die once, and that's in this life. That's why Jesus, one of the reasons that Jesus came to be bestowed as a human being is so he could experience death on the mortal level. This is the only level where you experience death in the type of death that we have. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of the time you go to sleep, and then when you wake up, you're either on another world or you're on another level, and you've been tweaked by the Urantia power supervisors for the next level. And with each tweaking, you get expanded vision, you get expanded hearing, you get expanded senses. So as you go up these 570 levels, your hearing, speech, senses, everything increases. Okay, and your sight. So as your sight increases, you get to see more and more types of spiritual beings. Yeah, Rodney.
When Jesus resurrected,
Right.
he talked like he went through, I think, 7 stages.
He did 7 levels as the Morantia being. Each level of the 7 mansion worlds, Rodney. Now, on each level of the 7 mansion worlds, his Morantia vision increased just like ours would, so he could experience that too. But the problem is this: with each level, as he was tweaked, he became less visible to the people on the planet. So they had to tweak the sight of people so they could see him when he wanted to appear. Make sense? Because he was more and more on a closer to spiritual with each tweaking. So by the time he went through all 7 and he became a local universe citizen, equivalent of that, he was about on the highest mansion world level that you could be. Okay. And shortly after that, he ended his 19 appearances, right? He didn't appear anymore.
Through the 7 stages, we're going to be tweaked 570 times.
570 times. That's right.
Wait a second. Now, that's what I don't understand. As class 1 or stage 1
spirits
spirit is high or low?
Higher than us. That's
It's
what you
higher than us,
become.
but no, is it the grading goes like, okay, you're stage 1, like in grade school, stage 1's grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, or
on the spiritual level, but that's after you finish the local universe. When you go into those, Gary, is when you leave the local universe and start on the super universe adventure.
okay,
right?
I'm confused. You just did another number on me. Okay, let me backtrack. Okay, here I am
Okay.
on Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful Earth.
Beautiful
I
Earth.
die.
Yes.
I've gone to the Urantia world, right?
Right.
And I'm going to be in the super universe, I'm assuming, right?
No, you're within the super universe, but you're within the local system headquarters spheres, and those include the 7 mansion worlds. So when you die, you go to the local local system worlds. And if you want to think of it this way, the local system worlds is where Lucifer rebelled. It's on the lowest level. Okay.
So I'm okay. Here I am then. Put it in my lay terms. Okay. I leave Earth. I leave North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm dead. I'm done with North Carolina. And I'm going to go into this United States. Okay.
No,
Now
you'll
I'm
probably
in
go to South Carolina because it's a little bit. No, I'm joking.
yeah, a little bit slow, right?
You leave the United States. Yeah.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
leave the.
And
Yeah.
then I'm into the United greatest area. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, I go into the super universes.
You go into actually, you can think of the United States as the local system.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
thinking local system.
Right.
And
The
then
local system.
I have to
Then
do
when
it
you leave that,
570 times. I have to.
You go from the local system to the constellations. It's a progression over many, 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 many worlds. And in that process, you go from the local system to the constellations, and eventually,
The minis ran out.
yeah, well, it's many, 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 many worlds. But when you leave the local constellation, eventually you get to the local universe system headquarters, and you're still a Morantia being. Okay, you're on the upper level of those 570 levels of a Morantia being when you go to the local universe headquarters. But when you leave the local universe headquarters, the way you do that is you stand before Jesus and you want to hear what? Well done, my good and faithful servant. Okay. And at that point, you've earned your papers as a first stage spirit. And as a first stage spirit, you can step out of the local universe and step into the minor sector and major sector eventually. But by becoming a first stage spirit, that gives you permission to leave the local universe. Now, tonight's paper is part of why this is important. You go ahead, Jane, ask your question.
Is that when we get a new name, when we get named?
No, we get a new name when we fuse with our adjuster somewhere between the fifth
Before
mansion
that.
world on. Yeah.
Before, okay.
So we would
Thank
fuse
you.
with our adjuster about after the third or fifth.
Or fifth, around the fifth mansion world, usually.
Okay,
or the
now you
level.
got me. So I die here and I go to South
The first mansion.
Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Texas. I'm not going to California. Oregon. Okay, I've gone to 5 of them. Okay. Do
Yeah.
I fuse with my adjuster then?
On the fifth one. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. By the time you hit what, Georgia, you want to fuse? No, I'm joking.
Hey, it works.
But
Don't
yeah,
worry,
by
it
the
works
time
in
you
my
hit about
mind.
the, yeah, by the time you've progressed is the right word to the fifth level or the fifth mansion world, you're probably ready to fuse with your adjuster and you get a new name when you do that. Okay.
That sounds like the song, by the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising.
Yeah. Let me give you a good example. Me and my wife watched 1.5 of the second movie Avatar the last couple nights. And if you ever saw that movie, did any of y'all ever see that movie? Avatar?
First?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Remember when they put this guy in this tube and when he woke up, he was in a different body?
Exactly.
He was still in his body, but his mind was in a different body.
Exactly.
In essence, it's much like that. When you die, when you wake up, you got a brand new body. Everything's different, right? You might be 7 foot tall. You might be tall and good looking. You might be ugly as sin too, but yeah, it just depends, right? The point is this. As you progress morontially, you have to be tweaked by the Urantia power supervisors to expand your horizons. And that's what you're doing. With each level, you're expanding your horizons, both mentally, physically, and spiritually. Okay. Now, why is this important? Because when you're in these 570 levels, what mind circuit are you functioning under? You're functioning under the universe sun and the local universe mother spirit, right? The 7 adjutants. When you're in the local universe, that's whose spirit controls the mind circuit, okay? However, when you're done with these 570 levels and you step out of the Urantia existence, the local universe mother spirit no longer controls your mind circuit. Okay?
Oh.
Yeah, a whole new experience. At that point, guess who takes over your mind spirit? The infinite spirit. And you become part of the cosmic mind. Okay? And this comes through one of the 7 master spirits. And that's what this paragraph is talking about, right? It says here, mind is the bestowal of the local universe mother spirit in liaison with a creator sun, because they created you, right? So your mind on this planet and the mind circuit, even though it starts at the infinite spirit, it has to come through the local universe mother spirit. Okay, you have to think of it that way, the mind circuit. All right, so without the local universe mother spirit and the creator sun, what would happen? Your mind would be cut off and you would no longer be able to communicate with anybody outside yourself or anyone else. Okay, you with me?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so this is made possible by a synthesis, bringing together of the material and the spiritual by the Urantia power supervisors that give you your finite mind, for one. But this is the Urantia again, okay? They give you the finite mind too. But they even more importantly give you the mind that you need when you wake up from the first mentioned world on the 570 levels above that. You with me?
Mhm.
So it's these Urantia power supervisors that connects your physical body, whether it's a material body or whether it's a Urantia body. It's these supervisors that connect the material with the mind and the spirit.
Mhm.
Got that? So these
Mhm.
guys are pretty important, right? That's why they tweak you as you go. They control everything. And eventually they prepare you for the association of the cosmic mind when you step away from the local universe.
Right. And all
Okay.
this time, Roger, we are with other beings,
Yes.
with but mind of a non-Morontia order is also bestowed. Are
That's
they?
us. Yeah, the non-Morontia order is us, the finite mind.
So this works with those who reside in the local universe all the time too?
All the time too. That's correct.
Okay.
Now they don't get the Morontia mind until they what? They die.
Hmm.
Okay. All finite beings have to go through the experience of living and eventually dying, one way or another. Whether you're blown up in a nuclear explosion or you walk out in front of a car and get ran over, you know, just that easily.
Now,
Okay.
I can have one more question.
Yeah.
Once I meet God and he says, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Right.
What do I do then?
You go on to the minor sector and start as a first stage spirit, and you start learning all over again as a first
So I
stage
get to
spirit.
learn, maybe I can go up to become a Chesedek or
No, that's a different
escort
type of
or,
being.
huh?
No, that's a different type of being. A Melchizedek is a created local universe son. You will never become a Melchizedek. You will never
stop
become
on
an
it.
angel. You never become a Melchizedek. You never become an angel. You know that nice, sweet little story, It's a Wonderful Life, where the guy comes back and helps the guy get out of trouble, and it's a wonderful life. Well, that never happens because human beings don't become angels. Okay, angels are created as angels. So we don't become other types of beings. That only happens after we've done the entire ascension plan to God the Father. And then at that point, you can become a finaliter and you can become something like a mighty messenger, right? Just like, let me show you something here. Just, you see this down here at the bottom? It said presented by a mighty messenger on duty in Lebanon by the request of Gabriel. Gabriel requested this information be given out to us, and he did it through a mighty messenger. And a mighty messenger is what? Someone who's gone through the same process that we are starting right now. Okay. At that point, you can become a different type of being, a mighty messenger. But up to that point, your goal is to become a finaliter. Okay? Stand before God, the Father. With me so far?
Yeah, once we become a finaliter, then we can become other things.
That's right. At the
That
behind,
are,
yeah. If God the
that are
Father
not
decides,
created.
yeah, that's where you want. He wants you, right?
So we
Okay.
could be a truck driver or a messenger or a postman or a whatever,
Yep.
I don't know what the job openings are.
From mighty messenger, I don't think they're truck drivers, but
I don't know either. I
Whatever,
don't know.
yeah. But whatever they are, I'm open for it, right? I'm one of these terrible guys that, you know, even in the service, when they said I need a volunteer, I'd always send me, I'll do it. You know, it's just a bad habit. You know? Okay. So we got 570 levels of Morantia life, in which we have a local universe mother spirit providing our mind circuit, right? Then we step out of that 570 levels and become a first stage spirit, and then we step into the cosmic mind. Okay, so let's go on to the next paragraph. Rodney, would you take the next paragraph?
Yes. The cosmic mind. This is the sevenfold diversified mind of space, time, and space, one phase of which is ministered by each of the seven master spirits to one of the seven super universes. The cosmic mind encompasses all finite mind levels and coordinates experientially with the evolutionary deity levels of the supreme mind, and transcendentally with the existential levels of absolute mind, the direct circuits of the conjoint actor.
Okay, before we move off onto this paragraph, I want to mention something in the previous paragraph. In the last sentence I skipped over. It says, this is the evolutionary course of mortal creatures, but mind of a non-Morantia order, you're still with me, is also bestowed by the universe sun and the universe spirit upon the non-Morantia children of the local creations. And who is that? That's us, right? We're
Right.
the yeah, okay. I want to make sure that was clear. If I don't clear up all the things in these paragraphs, we've missed our goal of what we're trying to do teaching this book. Okay, so the cosmic mind, once we become first stage spirits, then immediately we come under the purview of one of the seven master spirits. Okay, guess which master spirits we come under the purview of? Number 7,
Father, Son,
right?
Father,
That's
Son,
right.
and Holy Ghost, I think. We get all three because we've been bad.
That's right, all three influences, right? And it says this cosmic mind also encompasses all finite mind levels as well, right? Okay, so it encompasses us too. We just don't recognize it. All right. And because it encompasses us, it's because of the experientially evolutionary deity levels of the supreme mind. Who is the supreme mind? The supreme master spirit. And who is the vicegerent of the seventh master spirit?
The seventh
I mean, who is
master
the
spirit. You
seventh
told
master
us.
spirit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
confusing.
jumble brain. That's right. Okay, so the seven master spirit encompasses the supreme mind also, right? Because we're under that influence. It's also transcendentally on the existential levels of absolute mind. Who is existential? That's beings like Havana and Paradise, right?
Mhm.
They exist forever. They always have, always will be. That's the existential. Okay. It encompasses that also, and direct circuits of the conjoint actor. So when we step into the cosmic mind, we're directly influenced from the infinite spirit through the seventh master spirit and through the supreme being's experience. Make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think also what it's saying, like you were saying, the Havana natives, obviously they have a cosmic mind.
They do. They do. And we're going to find out in the next paragraph, not only the Havana natives, but all the absolute and absonite beings are the same way.
So outer space levels, they'll probably,
Same exact
But-
thing, the cosmic mind.
however, they'll, yeah, okay. Got it.
All right, Jane.
And here we fused. We are fused here with the thought
Oh,
adjustment.
yeah, by that time, we're
We're
definitely
fused.
fused. We don't leave the local universe at all without being fused. That's
Mhm.
for sure. We're not considered cosmic citizens until when?
Until
We
we
fuse
reach
with our
Hafona.
adjusters. When we
Okay.
fuse with the adjuster, okay, about
Yeah.
the fifth mansion world. Up to that point, we're considered cosmic citizens, but only on what? A faith-based belief,
Creatures.
Yeah.
okay?
Well,
When we
if
become
use-
fused, we're no longer a faith-based citizen. We're a real citizen. And why is that? Because we become fused with a fragment of God the Father that makes us real children of God the Father, and we will live forever. We will
Mhm.
become what? Existential at that point.
Mhm.
That's important.
Mhm.
Because at that point, we never, ever, ever, ever die. Okay. You won't be defaulting either. You don't have to worry about defaulting any longer, because once you become part of God, you aren't going to default away from God. Right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes.
So
Okay.
Lucifer was not a part of God then.
No, he wasn't. He was a local universe son. Like a Melchizedek, he was a Lananondek son, just like a Verondadek son. These are all local universe sons. They aren't fused, they don't have adjusters, and they aren't fused with those adjusters.
So
Okay?
they're created beings.
They're created beings in the local universe by Jesus or Michael and the local universe mother spirit, right? Now, let me tell you a little secret. If Lucifer would have been patient, he would have been given the opportunity to go down to the lowest level, just like Jesus did, become a human, live out a human life, get a thought adjuster, fuse with that, and go on the ascension plan just like we do. But he was impatient. You got that?
That's
no
almost
ma-
like an inferior like common day, an inferior supervising us superior.
No,
Because
actually,
in that
because
way-
they are created in a certain aspect of perfection, Gary. And that's important to understand. They were created perfect for their job, just like angels are created perfect for their current job or position. So when an angel is created, let me give you a good example of that. Let's talk about a cherubim. A cherubim is the lowest order of angel, right? Cherubims are created cherubims as perfect cherubims, right? Through experience, though, they can gain the right to qualify to become what? Seraphim, right? And if they're good seraphim, they can follow you all the way to the ascension, through the ascension plan, and become finalities of their own, right? So there is a plan in the mind of God, and there's a plan in the mind of the creator sons and the local universe mother spirit for every type of being they create. Okay. But when you get ahead of the curve and you don't want to do what you're supposed to do, what happens? You fall in default.
You get sent to the corner.
You get sent to the corner. That's right. And you either get retrained, and if you refuse to be retrained, what happens? Life force is taken out of you and you're gone. Right? The wages of sin is death. Simple as that. Right? Okay. It's a good plan. It works. Okay. So this cosmic mind services the existential, the absolute mind, and we're going to find out it also services the absent mind. Let's go on to the next paragraph. Jane, would you take the next paragraph?
On paradise, mind is absolute. In Havona, absonite. In Orvington, finite. Mind always connotes the presence activity of living ministry plus varied energy systems. And this is true of all levels and of all kinds of mind. But beyond the cosmic mind, it becomes increasingly difficult to portray the relationships of mind to non-spiritual energy. Havona mind is sub-absolute, but super-evolutionary, being existential, experiential. It is nearer to absonite than any other concept revealed to you. Paradise mind is beyond human understanding. It is existential, non-spatial, non-temporal. Nevertheless, all of these levels of mind are overshadowed by the universal presence of the conjoined actor, by the mind gravity grasp of the God of mind on paradise.
Okay, so regardless of what type of mind it is, it's always within the grasp of the infinite spirit, right? Regardless of what it is. But let's look at this. Let's break this down a little bit. On paradise, mind is absolute. What does that mean? It means it's finished. It's at a degree that it can't be improved upon. So we're talking about paradise being perfection. Makes sense?
Mhm.
All beings in paradise are perfect. They're created perfect from the beginning, and they're existential. In other words, they always have been and they always will be, which we can't even wrap our hand around, right? But when you step into Havona, a universe which is created by the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit, okay, that's Havona. When you step into Havona, then the mind in Havona is what's called absonite. It's no longer absolute anymore. Okay, so being absonite, it is on a totally different level. And being absonite, it also has the ability, even though it's existential, it goes on forever, it has the ability to experience new experiences. So that makes it what? Experiential, right?
Mhm.
So that's why it says down here, Havona mind is sub-absolute, but super evolutionary. It can evolve, okay? What does that mean? That means mind on paradise cannot evolve. It's already at its maximum, right? But the mind on Havona can evolve. That makes sense? Okay. And it says beyond these concepts, it's difficult to portray the relationship of mind to non-spiritual energy systems, because when you get up at this level, you're talking about spiritual bodies, spiritual energy systems, everything is spiritual. Okay, so they don't even have words to explain to us that there is a non-spiritual energy there as well. Okay, there's always a mystery. Okay, yes.
Would the absolute mind on paradise and the sub-absolute mind in Havana, are they still considered the cosmic mind?
Yes, yes, even though it's on paradise and Havona, it's still part of the original cosmic mind, which comes out from where? The
Infinite
infinite
spirit.
spirit,
So,
right?
in other words, it's all cosmic mind until you step down to the mortal.
To the mortal
And
level.
it's be adjusted.
And
So we
up
understand
above to paradise.
Yes, and paradise, up above paradise. Now, think of it this way. There's 700,000 local universes, are there not?
Mhm.
So there's 700,000 different minds according to the 700,000 local universe mother spirits and the creator sons.
Correct.
Each one of them is unique, right? Just like we are unique. Okay. When you get to paradise, or when you get to the first mansion world and you wake up, you have a mind inserted back into you that you started out with on this planet, right? Think of it this way. Your mind on this planet is totally unique, is it not?
Mhm.
Every single person's different, are they not? We all look different. No two people are exactly alike, are they? Even twins aren't exactly alike, right? Each one of us is unique. So when you wake up on the first mansion world, that mind that they plug you back into, that's transferred from this body into your new body, is that same unique individual mind that you had on this planet. Okay? Why is that important? Because every individual that wakes up on the mansion world is totally 100% unique from every other individual in all 7 super universes. Okay?
Forever.
Forevermore. You think we're all going to look exactly alike? No. You think we're all going to think exactly alike? No. Do you think we need individual training for each and every one of us to tweak what needs to be changed? Yes. Why do you think we're all assigned guardian angels? Because we're all unique, right? And those guardian angels are, one of their jobs is to get us into the flow of what? The cosmic mind, right? Because it's through the cosmic mind we are all connected, right? All of us in all the universes. All right. Okay. So let's go on. Let's see. We just read this paragraph. What did I got through half of it. All right. Okay. Havona mind is sub-absolute. It's not absolute mind, right? But it's super evolutionary being, existential and experiential. So it can experience things, right? And then it talks about it is nearer the absonite than any other concept revealed to you. So the absonite beings that they don't tell us almost anything about are more like the Havona beings than anyone else. Okay. Why do you think there's absonite planets in our local universe? Because that's a system that grows, and as they go through the local universe as absonite beings, they will help us understand that type of being when we get to the first stage spirits and above. Okay, so we can comprehend our absonite brothers and sisters. Okay, and then it goes on to talk about paradise mind, which is existential, non-spatial, non-temporal. So we have nothing to relate to it, do we? Paradise, other than it's perfect. Yeah. All right. But it says, but all of these levels are still overshadowed by what? The conjoint actor.
Universal presence of the conjoining actor.
The universe, the infinite spirit, right? And it's all within the gravity grasp of the God of mind on paradise, which is what? The infinite spirit, right? Brings it all together. Okay, universal mechanisms. Whew, that was a tough one getting through 3 paragraphs.
Yeah,
okay, universal. Letch, would you take the next one for us, please?
Okay. In the evaluation and recognition of mind, it should be remembered that the universe is neither mechanical nor magical. It is a creation of mind and the mechanism of law. But while in practical application, the laws of nature operate in what seems to be the dual realms of the physical and the spiritual, in reality, they are one. The first source and center is the primal cause of all materialization, and at the same time, the first and final Father of all spirits. The Paradise Father appears personally in the extra Havana universes only as pure energy and pure spirit, as the thought adjusters and other similar fragmentations.
Okay, so the appearance is this. The appearance is that we have mind on the mind circuit, and then we have mechanisms of law, mechanical things, which are what? Our bodies. These are mechanical things. And they go under mechanical laws instead of mindal laws, right? So if you would, the mind is a superimposition on a mechanical being, right? Which is what we are. If you want to look at it this way, if we all were made like robots, our mind would be a superimposition on our synapses of a robotic mind. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. But in reality, it's not really that way. You know, it gives us this concept and it says it's not really that way, because the physical and the spiritual in reality are all one thing under God the Father, the first source and center. So all mechanical things, all spiritual things, all mindal things, all gravity and paradise is that way under what? God the Father. Makes sense? We all live and have our being within God the Father. Okay? The thing is, the personality of God the Father only appears in outside of Havana in the 7 super universes as pure energy and pure spirit. And those are what? The thought adjusters.
So our
So
thought
think-
adjusters are pure energy, pure spirit.
Pure spirit, pure energy. So each one of us has a fragment of pure energy and pure spirit within us, waiting to be fused with us. Okay? When that fusion occurs, that pure energy and pure spirit becomes a new person with us being fused with it forevermore and becomes an existential citizen or child of God. So that pure energy or pure spirit becomes part of us. We become part of it and we become new beings. That's why they gave us new names. Make sense? Something to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. Gary, would you take the next one? Mechanisms do not absolutely dominate.
Mechanisms do not absolutely dominate the total creation. The universe of universes in toto is mind planned, mind made, and mind administered. But the divine mechanism of the universe of universes is altogether too perfect for the scientific methods of the finite mind of man to discern even a trace of the dominance of the finite mind.
Infinite.
For this
Infinite mind.
infinite mind, excuse me, infinite mind. For this creating, controlling, and upholding mind is neither matter mind nor creature creature mind. It is spirit mind functioning on and from creator levels of divine reality.
So do you think our scientists will ever be able to detect it?
Be able to what? Detect him?
Yeah, our scientists will never be able to detect the controlling mind within us. Never. Because it's not a physical mechanism and it's not just a spiritual mechanism. It's both. Okay.
What does the word
So
total mean?
totally in toto, encompassing everything. Okay. Toto. Yeah. Yeah.
Thought it was a dog.
Yeah. I
Used to be a
wondered
rock band. I don't know if y'all remember that from the 70s. Toto.
Oh, remember.
Yeah. All right. Shows how old I am. Okay. let's go on. Diane, would you take the next one, please, dear? Let me get muted here.
The ability to discern and discover mind and universe mechanisms depends entirely on the ability, scope, and capacity of the investigating mind engaged in such a task of observation. Time-space minds, organized out of the energies of time and space, are subject to the mechanisms of time and space.
Okay, I want to bring something up here. It's talking about being able to discern and discover the universe mechanisms on which this happens, right? Yeah. Think about, it brings me back to Dr. Greer. You remember me talk about Dr. Greer did the UFO investigations and stuff. Before he started that, he worked for the government on projects in which they were doing they were teaching people how to travel through space and time with their mind, and they didn't know how it worked or how it happened or anything like that. They started out with hypnosis, somnipulant wake and suggestion. Eventually you step into astral projection, it's called. Okay. And this is a perfect example of this. You can study this till the cat will never come home, and you still won't discover the mechanism of which you can manipulate or throw your thoughts in mind or even communicate through cosmic mind, because it's not discernible by the thing that's looking at it. Okay, so if you're able to do these things over a period of time, it's because you've learned to control your own physical mind within a certain area or spectrum. But that still does not give you the ability to determine what causes all of this, right? So that's what they're saying here is scientists will not be able to ever figure this out because it's not something you can do. All right, motion and universe gravitation. Rodney, would you take that one, please?
Yes. Motion and universe gravitation are twin facets of the impersonal time-space mechanism of the universe of universes. The levels of gravity response for spirit, mind, and matter are quite independent of time, but only true spirit levels of reality are independent of space, non-spatial. The higher mind levels of the universe, the spirit mind levels, may also be non-spatial, but the levels of material mind, such as a human mind, are responsive to the interactions of universe gravitation. Losing this response only in proportion to spirit identification. Spirit reality levels are recognized by their spirit content, and spirituality in time and space is measured inversely to the high linear gravity response.
So what's all this telling us? It's telling us because we are physical and we're attached to the time-space mechanisms of our environment, that we're prisoners of it, basically, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, we can't get away from it. So basically, we can't respond or communicate outside ourselves in a non-spatial reality, okay?
It's impossible.
We're not built to, it's impossible. It can't happen, right? We always have to deal with space and the gravity response of where we live, okay? Now, such is not so with spirit reality levels, okay? Spirit reality levels can communicate in non-spatial reality. In other words, if God the Father wants to communicate with the Creator Son, he can do that instantaneously. Space is not a factor, okay? But let me give you a little secret. Think of this. And I'm going to change your life tonight. You believe I can change your life tonight?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
All right, I'm going to do that tonight. Spirit reality levels are recognized by spirit content. You see that? And
Proofs of the
spiritually in time and space is measured inversely to the linear gravity response. So think of it this way. When you pray, okay, if you're worshiping God, okay, through the thought adjuster, that is what? Non-spatial. You follow me?
Mhm.
It's holy. That spirit response, that non-spatial spirit response is instantaneous. Okay. So when you pray and praise God the Father, it's immediate. No time is involved. You with me
Yeah.
so far? When you pray for things in your life, I don't care what it is, if it has something to do with your physical existence, it is a local universe matter, is it not? Because it's a physical thing, right? So it goes through the Creator Son and the local universe Mother Spirit. What is affected when you do that? It's a time, yeah, it affects time, doesn't it? So when you pray to Jesus, if you pray to Jesus and you ask for something, should you expect an immediate response?
No.
No. Why? Because you're in a gravity universe and there's a time, space, linear gravity response in that. Okay? It might take a millisecond. We don't know, right? But it is a delay because it has to go through whom? Jesus and the local universe Mother Spirit. Now, if it has to do with God the Father, what happens immediately? It immediately goes on to God the Father. Why? Because it's a spiritual reality issue, not a physical reality issue. Makes sense?
We have a fragment of the Father within us. So
to do that, right? Okay, so the two things can happen. The thought adjuster can immediately relay it to God the Father, or it could get relayed to the local universe Mother Spirit or the Creator Son, and they relay it to the Father, or they could relay it to any of the celestial beings that support personnel for the local universe and tell them to take care of it. Now, when you pray for something, do you always get an answer?
of course not.
Yes, you do. You do.
But indirect.
But it may not be the answer you want.
Well, that's true.
Okay. All right. All prayer is responded to. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in this era. It may wait till you're on the 8th or the 7th mansion world before they respond to that prayer because you were not ready for the answer. You follow me?
Or you just don't recognize the answer.
Or you don't recognize the answer, right? There's 3 answers to any questions, are there not? Yes, no, and maybe, right? Or wait would be another good word for maybe, right? So if you don't get a response from a question you've asked God or the local Jesus or the local universe Mother Spirit, you can take it as one of 2 things. Either you're not ready for it, they said no, or it's waiting a response sometime in the future. But it says in the Urantia book, all prayers are what?
Answered.
Answered. All of them. Think of it that way, right? May not be the response you need. You may not be ready for that response, and it may be delayed for your own good, right? Which brings up another point. What do you have to accept that in your life?
Faith.
Faith.
That's right. Right? Because we
Well,
can't
what-
get everything we want all the time, right?
Well, what if you're praying for someone that's dying and you want them to recover?
No.
It may not be the will of God that they recover, Fletch, right?
Uh-huh.
It may not be that the will of God. God may be ready to bring them to the mansion world for the many blessings they have waiting for them, you know? Plus, is the prayer you're asking for someone to recover, is it for your benefit or their benefit, right? That's the big question,
Hmm.
right? Because we always want something to happen that benefits us. We don't want to lose them. We like people that we like. We love people that we love. We don't want them to go away. We don't want to have a life without them, right? But if it's their time, it's their time, and it's time for them to move on to the next level. And the other thing is this, the time we have left here is like a blink of an eye, really. Let me tell you another little secret here. Me and Diane were in the doctor's office. I had a doctor's visit today, but in the doctor's office, I turned around and asked Diane a question about something that happened in the past, because I could not, the time disappeared. I don't know when it was, right? And that's the way life is. The time disappears, doesn't it? You're there one minute and the next minute you wake up and it's 10 years later,
Yeah.
Me and Diane's been married almost 9 years, almost 10 here coming up soon. And it seems like yesterday, right? So you can't trust time for prayer answer sometimes, and you can't trust sometimes what you pray to be given to you in the way that you expect it to be given to you, because it may be for a wiser, better, good for you that something is answered differently, right? Make sense? And if you look at it that way, that can change your life forever. You're not going to be disappointed all the time. Because if you accept what happens, what will be, then life becomes a lot more pleasant. It really does. You won't walk around in disappointment your whole life, because life can be really disappointing if it doesn't go the way you think it should, right? Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Let's see who, Jane, I think you're up next.
Linear gravity.
Yeah.
Linear gravity response is a quantitative measure of non-spirit energy. All mass, organized energy, is subject to this grasp except as motion and mind act upon it. Linear gravity is the short-range cohesive force of the macrocosmos, somewhat as the forces of the intra-atomic cohesion are the short-range forces of the microcosmos. Physical materialized energy, organized as so-called matter, cannot traverse space without affecting linear gravity response. Although such gravity response is directly proportional to mass, it is so modified by intervening space that the final result is no more than roughly approximated when expressed as inversely according to the square of the distance. Space eventually conquers linear gravitation because of the presence therein of the anti-gravity influences of numerous supermaterial forces which operate to neutralize gravity action and all responses thereto.
Okay, I'm going to sum this up with something really, really simple. Okay? Really simple. Let's go back to our study on the ultimaton. Okay?
Mm.
What affects the ultimaton? First, paradise gravity, right? And then linear gravity eventually, right? So, linear gravity affects non-spiritual energy. What are we? We are non-spiritual. We're more material energy, are we not?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So all mass is subject to this grasp of organized energy, organized matter, and the response of paradise and linear gravity, with the exception when anti-gravity is applied to it, right? In any motion and upon the case where mind acts upon it. Okay, so think of it this way. When you get up in the morning, your feet hit the floor, you stand up, and what's happened?
Gravity.
Gravity, right? For one, you get older, you feel it more and more each day, right? It keeps pulling you down. It's harder to get up. But just in that motion of getting up, what happens? The human mind activates the brain, right? The brain says, feet get on the floor, legs stand up, shoulders stand up, erect yourself, and try to make it to the bathroom, right?
Without
That
hitting.
is yeah, without hitting anything, right, on the way there.
Oh,
Okay,
Lord.
that is what we're talking about. It's a non-quantitative measure of a non-spiritual energy because it's just mind and matter activating to get a response for you to do something, right? Doesn't need any spirit to it, does it? Right?
Excellent.
Unless your brain's thinking about something, then that change, all bets are off, right? Okay, so this is what we're talking about. All material energy has a response to paradise and linear gravity, does it not?
Mhm.
Okay. It's not until you hit the spiritual aspect of existence that you're differently affected by this spiritual or by this paradise and linear gravity. And even then you're still affected. It's just different, right? So you don't ever escape it. You follow me?
Mhm.
And that's what we're talking about here.
Thank you.
All right, these are all automatic things. Lech, would you take the next one, please? Oh, shoot, I'm sorry, Lech, I'm out of time. I'm just gonna keep on teaching until the sun comes up, I guess.
Well, while we're at it, I have a question about linear gravity.
Yes,
Einstein and his theory of relativity says time and space are one unit and they're bendable because of mass. For example,
right,
the sun is an enormous mass and it actually bends space, which makes the object orbiting it be pulled toward it.
towards it and away from it, both, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Does that jive with linear gravity of the Urantia book? Or?
It's perfect with it, Lech, because you think of it this way. What he's talking about is the linear gravity effect of the sun, right?
Right.
There's also the paradise gravity, which affects the sun as much as it does the linear gravity, right? So
Yeah.
he's right. There are two different mechanisms there that both can be affected and rejected by it. In other words, not only can the linear gravity pull something in, it can also push it away. And with the anti-gravity, that's what actually balances those two things, right? Because if it wasn't for that, space itself would fold upon itself constantly, right? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That finally answers that question.
Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all, let's shut it down for today. I went over today. I don't usually do. I watch my time usually a little closer than that. So we'll take it up from 42:11:6, right? Next time.
Oh,
And,
Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, on Thursday. Yeah, I'm gonna get through this tonight. No, not hardly. All right, let's say a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Gary, would you like to close us in prayer tonight? You look puzzled.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to consider this thing a worship of you. It's not a prayer of us asking for something in our greedy minds, but I think we should just stop and say one thing that's simple and inclusive. Just thank you. Amen.
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 And thank you all at home for joining us. Please come see us again, everybody out on Facebook, YouTube, and all those other things.
Okay. I still